Why is it that African science fiction is placed as it doesn't fit in these places? Because if you put it into world literature or African literature and it's sci-fi written by an African author, that isn't really fair. Do you think that Black Panther has changed the atmosphere around African science fiction at all? And if so, or if not, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, starting there, I will say definitely the Black Panther movie had definitely a huge cultural impact. Not only just on the reception, the mainstreaming of what, we would think of now and after that point as African science fiction, I would definitely say it had a major cultural impact in taking that maybe expectation or understanding or interest, right? Mainstream and global. So I think those two things. Now, we can definitely say we had a before Black Panther movie and after Black Panther movie cultural consciousness. I do think that is actually the case. The stories we're seeing now that at the after Black Panther part that are maybe being better received or even shelved in the general science fiction and fantasy shelves, unlike how they used to before, those stories are no different from the ones that came before Black Panther. They are the same. They're the exact same people have been writing these stories for eons. They have always been there. When I was growing up, I did read a few, even if they weren't always as available, but I did stumble upon a lot of speculative work written by Africans on the African continent, in diaspora, everywhere, of African descent, spearheading or foregrounding the African concerns, right? The Afro-descendants concerns. Yes, when I wrote that essay, one of the things I noticed at the time is regardless of the case, they would be shelved in Black American fiction or African American fiction or African fiction. There was always like a shelf being like, if you want to go read something that's written by a Black person, go there, regardless of what genre it is. Mystery, thriller, romance, it's all one shelf. But then there's a shelf called romance and it's like everybody else. So I'm like, why this sequestering, right, of these stories? Because they're not any different. So that was the reason I wrote that essay, because I was noticing that even on the shelves in bookstores in Nigeria, the works were still shelved that way. And that's because the shelving itself was part of a larger institutional framework that was being borrowed.
You are listening to Genuine Chit-Chat. This show is for real.